My first memory of meeting Mitch was actually way back in 1999. We came in the off season and we ran pro circuit pipes in Australia. So it was going into my second year as a pro. It was actually at the end of 1998, going into the 99 season. And yeah, I got to come to the US and do some off-season races and then race Anaheim and San Diego. So we got pipes, cylinders, heads, all that. And yeah, I remember going and just seeing pro circuit as a whole, you know, is really cool. And you know, you obviously have an understanding of what that's about, but you know, when you're walking through the building and you know, you see Mitch grinding away on cylinders. Obviously, back then it was all two-stroke, so he was way more busy on the grinder than he, you know, on the tools than what he is today. But it was just, yeah, just kind of like that surreal feeling, like you know, where it really becomes real, where you see PC and you hear about Mitch Payton, but when you actually physically see the man, you know, grinding away on customer engines and race engines and all those kinds of things, it was yeah, it was really cool. I haven't had too many crazy pranks to report about, but always messing with each other, you know. It goes back and forth. As an Aussie, you're always messing with people anyway, so Mitch is like one of the few Americans that you can actually mess with and they don't get too emotional. So he always, for the most part, pushes the buttons, you know, like if you really need something from him, or you know, you need it right away or whatever, he'll tell you something that it's $80,000 and it's going to take 18 weeks, you know, so something just completely crazy. And at first you're kind of like, you respect him and you're kind of like, that seems a little unreasonable, but maybe it's true. And yeah, now you don't even buy into it, but it's fun. Yeah, I think Mitch has the ability to, you know, when you're being around it so long, and you know, from amateur level to pro, that really, it hasn't changed a whole lot, you know, like everything's so drastically different, but yet the fundamentals of how you pick an athlete out, you know, that you think is gonna make it big, I really think that hasn't wavered too much. So Mitch's, you know, skill of plucking them out when they're young and being able to, you know, I think in the old days it was kind of like it was that transition that you would take them from, you know, small little kids into the big bikes. And now I think that there's a lot of, I'd probably call it poaching. You know, it just seems like the other teams are more willing to poach at a critical time. And what I probably respect and love most about Mitch is he really hasn't bought into that poaching. You know, if they're willing to jump ship, at the end of the day, no one's guaranteed success. And I think that Mitch has stayed true to what he believes. I think he fights for the ones that he really wants. But I don't see him being crazy involved in the poaching system that I see in moto right now. Mitch will always, you know, like if he can help you, he will. You know, when you compare, you know, Villopoto and myself, in a lot of ways we're really different because, you know, Ryan grew up through the green, you know, came through the whole Team Green thing, and then obviously was very successful for Mitch. And then where I've never actually, you know, officially rode for Mitch's team, so but yet he's always my go-to guy. I love the fact that he'll answer your call and tell you what he can and can't do. And for me, that's probably the biggest, most important thing, is just yeah, like having somebody that you can rely on, somebody that's going to pick up the phone and you know, send you stuff overnight, and whether it be suspension parts, engine parts, pipes, anything like that, like you can, you know, you can rely on the guy to have it show up. Yeah, I think Mitch's impact on the sport has been huge. You know, like nowadays it's changed quite a lot, but you always revert back to kind of where the core of what we have now really came from what Mitch was putting into it. I mean, you know, back in the days, every factory race team, some shape or form, was getting parts out of there. You know, when I came here in 1999, you know, Ian and Roger, who are now the top big dogs at KTM and Husqvarna, those guys were running basically factory Suzuki through there. So yeah, to see all that and see how crazy it is, and even us at factory Yamaha, we always had, you know, PC pipes and PC silences and things like that. And you know, and I was young at that point, so I didn't see the, you know, whether we were getting heads and cylinders and things like that. I'm sure that our guys were grinding on them as well, but I'm sure at some point they asked Mitch to be able to compare it. Like, Mitch was always the benchmark, and I think still today he is the benchmark. I mean, the motorcycle that we, you know, see behind me is literally, you know, a motorcycle that was bought at a dealership, and, you know, every part on it is basically bolt-on parts. I called Mitch and asked him for a pipe, as I did with other manufacturers. My relationship runs deep with Mitch, but I was in a need of getting the best and going racing, and I wasn't really letting a relationship get in the way of that. And I think that that's what he respects. But the pipe's on there because it's the best. I mean, it was easily the best pipe that we ran on the track and on the dyno. So it was an easy decision. I didn't even have to make the phone call to bum him out that I was going to run somebody else's pipe. So I just think that the best, easiest way to describe Mitch is he's just always the benchmark, and people basically, you know, build from him. I think that he's the one that sets the, you know, the standard.